What is going on, crew? Welcome back to Founders Fire. My name is Iggy Odighizuwa, founder of CharlieAI.io. I've got Damani here with me. And he is someone who's been using Charlie for a while now and been absolutely getting great results with it. We met in person for the first time at SalesCon. I was like working on like finishing up some of my presentation stuff, and then it came up to me, and I was like, it took me a little second to kind of put the name to the face, and I was like, oh snap, that's the month.
That's that guy that pays me money every month. Yeah.
But we ended up hitting it off, and your story is just fascinating to me, man. So I wanted to bring you on here, just kind of hear a little bit more about your entrepreneur journey. We got to connect. We got to have lunch together. I was like, man, like, need to get you on one of these sessions. So excited to have you here, man. For those of you who are listening that don't know, like, how would you summarize what you do in like at a high level?
Yeah. We have an online drum coaching program where we help drummers play better drum fills, chops, and solos. Typically guys have been playing for a long time, been feeling stuck. You know, maybe even some of them have even toured, done some really cool stuff, but they want to improve when it comes to their fills, their chops, their solos.
Okay. And then, so when something like that, I mean, the first time I heard anyone do anything kind of like music coaching online was Vaughn, right? Like,
Right.
and even then I was like, you can really make money teaching people how to play piano. Like, so for you, you're helping drummers play
Yeah.
better drums, right?
Yeah.
So how do you even get into that? You know what I mean? Like, how does one even begin the process of turning that into a legitimate business that's generating the kind of revenue that he has generating?
So it's interesting for me. I'm an actual real musician in real life. So it starts with actually being a real musician. I play multiple instruments. Drums was my first instrument. I've been a full-time musician since I was 22 years old and hadn't had a job since, just playing actual, like really doing the thing. And we started teaching online back in 2012, but we weren't doing what we're doing now, right? Like, cause we didn't even know that you could do coaching or even anything high ticket at the time. It's usually when you like you were saying, when you think of music, you don't think of anything that's gonna make a lot of money. But it started off with me making drumless play-along tracks, which is music without drums that drummers can practice playing along to. That was the first thing I actually ever made. And then to try to sell those online, I got with one of my friends and I was like, let's make a video. And we literally filmed it in the living room of my house, a video of us teaching a drum fill and then playing it to the music and then telling people, if you like the music, that you can get it here, right? And we did that on YouTube. And that first year of doing that, we ended up amassing like 12,000 subscribers or something like that. 20,000. It was like between 12 and 20,000 subscribers in the first year. And people started falling in love with the actual lessons. So we started a lesson website because we figured that's what you're supposed to do then now. Like, so we started a low ticket. And to us, you know, everybody was doing membership sites at the time for like $20 a month, you know, just content and that kind of thing. But we didn't know anything about marketing. We didn't know anything about sales. We didn't know anything about funnels. We didn't know anything about anything. We just thought we can make this thing and or tell our YouTube channel that we have it and everybody's going to buy. And no, that didn't happen. Well, some people did. I think at the max at that point, we were making like $1,200 a month, right? on a $20 a month subscription.
I mean, but that was like that's tough to do though. Like, people hear that and they don't understand, like, it's so much more difficult to get people to subscribe to something that's like $20 a month than it is for them to buy something more mid to high ticket. Right.
True. I mean, and I didn't know that though. I couldn't understand. And so I remember we just thought, well, maybe we need to make more videos. Cause you know, you hear Gary Vee comes on the scene, right? And he starts talking about providing value and providing value and providing value. And so like, well, maybe we just need to make more videos, and maybe we need to make more videos and do this and do that and do this and do that. And it never really translated. And so the thing that I was doing at the same time, so I had the drumless tracks and we had this subscription site. But the drumless tracks, I didn't really like the business because it was like, well, they buy the track and download it for $1.99 or whatever. And I have to keep making new tracks or I have to keep finding new customers. And I didn't know how to market and find new customers and more people to buy the thing. And so I was like, well, what if I made this recurring so the people who actually bought this, they can actually just pay $6 a month or $10 a month to get access to all of my drumless tracks. And so I started doing that. And I even, at a certain point, I spent like $30,000 building a mobile app back in like 2015, 2016. This is crazy. And the mobile app, I put it out for free at first. And when I put it out for free, I had like 50,000 downloads on each platform. So it was like 100,000 downloads of the app for free. And that's one of the things I really like. Oh man, these tracks, people love them. And then I wanted to charge like $5 a month for it. Then everyone was pissed, right? That you want to charge now?
What's trying to make money off your hard-earned work?
Yeah. And so we ended up splitting it. And so I was like, well, maybe if we add the drum lessons we have from our subscription site to the app, then they'll feel like it's valuable enough to pay us like $5 a month for it. And so we added like 300 plus drum lesson videos to courses and all the stuff to the app to try to get. And so if they wanted access to the lessons and the tracks, it was like $9.99 a month, $10. If you wanted access to just the drumless tracks, it was like half the price. And I mean, it was like, it had features where you could download the tracks so you can play it off
kitchen sink at them. And then how did that convert?
And nothing, bro. I think the max that we ever got up to on that though, like we did a little better. We got up to like max like 10 grand a month. But the issue with that was Apple and Google take 30, there at the time, they take 30% of everything you make every month. And so at the end of every month, I didn't have enough money to operate. Like we couldn't even pay the developers to handle when bugs were happening in the app. And so because of that, I ended up shutting it down. And so as we still had like our online presence, and I was thinking about like, what could we do? What could we do? What could we do? And so one of the things that we did, and by the way, all of this that I'm telling you is like 10 years before I actually get to the high ticket thing, right? This was 10 years.
So you were already cutting your teeth on like the entrepreneurship, like figuring out product market fit and getting some ideas
failing at it horribly.
Yeah.
I remember having conversations with my fulfillment. He's my fulfillment director now. He's my then business partner at the time back then. Cause he quit and was like, yo, bro, I can't keep doing his. It was like 10 years, like, bro, I'm done. But it was, I remember having a conversation with him on the phone, like, bro, like, what do you think it is? Like, why, what are we missing? Like, I don't know exactly what it is that we're missing. I know that what we have is valuable, but there's just something that we're not out. And like, I would be frustrated and pissed, like, because I knew that what we were doing was working in terms of like helping drummers, and it would be validated by all the responses that we have on our YouTube channel, but nobody's buying anything in a way that's meaningful. And so I ended up having this thought, just random thought about like, okay, because we had people on our website, because we went back and did the website thing again because it was cheaper than having an app. And one day I saw someone post on Instagram a video of themselves playing something that they learned from us, from our website. And it was horrible what they were playing. And I remember I called Somadi and I was like, bro, I hope they don't tell anybody else they learned this from us, because it was that bad. And so what I ended up doing was I started thinking of like, how can we create something that ensures that people actually get results, so when they say they learn something from us, it actually is good.
It looks good. Like it's something that you're
Right.
like proud to put your stamp on. Like,
100%.
Yeah.
And so I started thinking, I was like, you know what? Of course all these people are failing, because like they don't have anyone to give them any feedback. They don't have anyone to tell them what they should be working on. Everyone is actually taking shots in the dark, randomly just working on this and then working on that and then working on whatever. And they're not spending enough time with it to actually get it down. They think they kind of got it down, and now they're posting themselves online. It's almost like you have, you know, like everybody's talking about right now, the sales guys who did 1 year in sales and all of a sudden they're sales coaching. And
they're teaching people how to sell high ticket, even though they themselves weren't able to successfully do it.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. And so that's what we were seeing stuff like that with the drummers. And so we came up with this idea, like, what if we did this 30-day thing for just a month, that if they actually get into like a Facebook group at the time where we would all be working on the same thing, specifically where we tell them what they're going to be working on basically, and we tell them how much time they need to be practicing, and we hold them accountable to it, and they have to submit videos so that we can see what they're doing and all this stuff, that maybe we'll see some results. And when we tried that, we thought it was expensive at the time. It was like $300 for a month. And I was like, by the way, if you don't get any results, we'll just give you all of the money back. Complete money back guarantee, 30 days, no questions asked. And when we did that, the craziest part was people got insane results, but it wasn't just that they got results. It was with the same information they already had access to on the site that was
Yep.
$20 a
Isn't
month.
that crazy? It's just psychology of the fact that they're investing more into it, that they're paying attention. And you also build a community where it's like there's like intentionality around them being in there. Right.
100%.
So
That,
now,
and it was like,
what are you charging
so now they're just,
now for your program?
so now my program is $6,800 for the year for the full coaching with everything that comes along with it. And the way I even got to that was we realized that because after we did the first time, we thought it was a fluke, maybe like, because we were shocked, like, wow, people really got results. So we tried it again and again and again and again. And what we noticed was that the people who continued to sign up every month for it were the ones that were getting the most results. And that's when we decided we only want to work with people who are committed for a year, because we know we can really do transformation in that time. And so then in 2022, I started seeing ads for this coaching program about helping musicians to be able to sell or to be able to make more money. And there was people in testimonials that were making $10,000 a month, $20,000 a month. One guy made $50,000 in a month. And I saw in the video, well, first I was like ignoring it, because I spent 10 years ignoring all the coaching stuff in the world.
It's
like,
kind of wild to me that you're getting ads about musicians, like a coaching program for musicians. I have never seen an ad like that ever.
Really?
Ever.
I mean, I hadn't either until I did, and I don't know if it existed specifically for coaches till around that time, because I do know that when I joined that program, I was probably one of the first 10 people in it. So maybe it was like new, but when I did it, I remember seeing, well, first, like I said, I've spent like 10 years ignoring anything that had to do with getting a coach, right? Or doing any, I used to think every time I saw a landing page with like a sales letter, I didn't know it was like a sales letter, a written sales letter. I didn't know that's what they called it at the time, but I knew that they all looked the same. And whenever I would see that and that page gets super long and they're like telling a long story and doing all the thing, I was just like, yeah, I'm half there. Because
like, anybody got time to read all this?
Right. But there was like something that switched in my brain though, because there was like one drum company at the time that was doing those types of sales letters to sell their drum courses, and they were crushing it. And I said, there's something they know that I don't know. Like there's something here, because like it's not like what they're producing is better than what we're producing, but they're crushing it and we can't figure it out.
They're operating off a different set of information.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. And so what ended up happening next is I joined that coaching program. I watched the webinar that they had, and I saw testimonials of this little young kid who was making $20,000 a month selling a trumpet program. And I just looked at him and was like, I'm so much cooler than this guy. Like, if this person is really doing this, there's absolutely no way.
It's so funny because I had a very similar entry into the online space. I saw this gal, because I started in health and fitness, as a personal trainer. And I saw an ad of a woman. She was like, I'm making $25,000 a month as an online fitness coach, and I don't know anything about fitness. Like that, I was depressed for like 2 weeks, because I was doing like 100 sessions a week as an in-person trainer. And we were making around the same amount of money. And I'm like, I just could not wrap my mind around how somebody who was ignorant of the business was doing as much as I am. I'm working like a dog.
Wow.
So I was like, she's got to have information that I don't have. That's the
Right.
only way she could be doing that, is she's operating under a
100%.
different set of rules, because she's damn sure not better than me at this thing,
Right.
you know?
And so when I ended up booking the call, the interesting thing is that the person who talked to me on that call was the person that I saw in the video that I said that I was cooler than. And that person was the one that was like the salesperson for the thing. And we had the conversation, and one of the things he asked me was, though, he was like, "Do you have an email list already?" I was like, "Yeah, I have an email list of like 5,000 people." Right. And that's like completely organic. I hadn't like done any ad. I just saw a YouTube video of a guy named Derek Halpern back in like 2012 that says, if you don't have an email list, you're an idiot. And so I started an email list and was like giving away a drumless traffic for anyone who opted in. So I had like 5,000 people on his email. And he said, "Yeah, no, he said, I think we'll be able to make your money back in like a short amount of time because you'll be able to email your people and we'll figure it out." So I joined that coaching program. It was September 11th, 2022. I had calls booked on my calendar like 2 days later. And because that Sunday, because it was a Sunday, September 11th, 2022, I binged the entire thing, all of the modules that they had inside of their thing. And I started doing the play that they were recommending if you have an email list. And I emailed everyone, and I had already wrote my one pager out of like exactly what this Veda offer was going to be. And it wasn't even like I had never done it. We didn't even have it. I didn't even have a school account. I didn't have anything but this idea on this piece of, Google Doc sheet. And I emailed my list, and I got people to book calls, and I closed like 20 grand in the first 2 weeks. And, and that's where I was like, this is different.
This is it. Now you're like, all right, I'm in the game for real now, you know?
And then the next month, I did it again. By the time I got to December of 2022, it was like 40,000. Then January of 2023, I had my first, it was like $81.3 thousand a month. And I remember having a conversation with my wife, apologizing for not knowing this sooner, because I've been struggling trying to figure out how to do this for a decade and not asking for help. But not even knowing who to ask or what to ask. And well, you know what? I take it back. There was one guy, I do remember I asked one guy over Instagram. And I was like, "Hey man, like I've been trying to do X, Y, and Z and da 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 da. It has not been working. I hear you talking about this and this and that. Like, what do you think that I'm missing?" Da 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 da. And he like wrote something back in the DMs where it was like, "If you can't figure out how to monetize your audience, that's your problem. You need to figure out da 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 da." And I was like, "Man, all
Well,
right, that's what happens when you ask."
he was an
Huh?
asshole. So he was just an
Yeah.
asshole.
Yeah. But in my mind, I was like, if that's what happens when you ask for help, then maybe I just gotta figure
Yeah.
it out. Let me go back
You
and
gotta you
figure it
gotta
out.
figure out on your own. It's not it
But
at all.
but I learned through the experience of investing in coaching that coaching is a cheat code, man. Like if
It is.
someone else has already done what you're trying to do, you are an idiot if you're trying to figure it out on your own,
Yep.
especially if someone's already figured it out.
I tell
So
people the ultimate hack to get to where you want is knowledge and proximity, right? If you're
yeah,
not where you want to be, it just means that you don't have the right information and you're not around the right people. That's
yeah,
really it, right? Because you go from like 10 years of trying to figure it out on your own, you get around the
yeah,
right people, and then you get the right information, and then 20K a month, 20, 40, 80, and then
yeah,
now it's like you've been able to
yeah,
sustain even greater than that since,
yeah. For
right?
sure. And it's exactly what you said, being around. And so I've had to look at uh all the people that I'm around, and I realize that like even in my personal life, I don't really have too many people I could talk to this about. A matter of fact, all the people that I talk to about business now, it's like been a new community of people that I have found since being in the coaching space. So then from being in that program that January, I also joined Cole Gordon's program to like try to start getting appointment setters and closers because like the business was turning into something. And that's when I learned that like Cole Gordon and them was like, "Yeah, you're having some success, but the truth is, bro, you don't know how to sell. Like you could like look at your numbers. Like you should be doing better than this, and we're gonna help you sell before we setter or a closer." And so I started learning how to sell, and that's where I met Vaughn because I didn't know that of any other music people doing the thing. except for the people that were in that other group that I was in. But I met this Vaughn was a part of closers, and my AM, he is like, you should meet this other person. You should meet, and then that was the beginning of me actually really understanding the power of just knowing the right people and becoming cool and building relationships with people. And it was cool because me and Vaughn didn't like need anything from each other. We just became friends. And and then to this day, like we talk all the time and just looking at what's going on and sharing what he was working for him. And I'm like, man, like after a while of being in some of these coaching programs, because I've also made some bad investments in coaching, but I'm looking at it as like part of the game at this point. What I found though is that once you meet the right people, you can kind of form your own masterminds too, outside of just the coaching space and like different things that people are experimenting with and all the stuff. And so that's been super helpful. So yeah, it's been a journey, man, to get here to what we're doing right now.
Yeah. So how did you first kind of like get into Charlie? Like when did that journey begin? So you go through this 10-year process of eventually getting into coaching. Then you start building a real business and you start getting that going. Soon you probably brought on some setters and closers
Yeah.
and things like that. So when did
Yep.
you like decide you needed to plug AI in? What was that like?
So yeah, I've like a lot of people struggle with having quality appointment setters that do their job consistently, that follow the process the same way all the time, that show up and do all the stuff. Because I would do call reviews and see that my setters were completely like not even doing the script, right? Like not even, hey, name, did you get X, Y, and Z? Oh yeah, I didn't get a chance to see it. All right, well, I'll just call you back. What? Like, what is happening on these calls? Like, so it was like December of, and I had been hearing about Charlie from Vaughn. First of all, he's the first one that introduced it to me. And this was back in 2024. So this 2026 now, right? Yeah. So like towards the end of 2024, he was like, "Hey, I'm looking at this thing. I think this might be, da 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 da." And I'm like, anytime I hear something new, I'm always like, well, let's see how it works for you. And it works for you, then I will, because I don't want to like just adopt something new every time someone says, do this now, do this now, do this now. Cause I actually started noticing that in coaching programs, some coaches will just keep bringing up something new. So it seems like they have some new information to keep
Like they're
sharing with.
providing, they get into the mindset thinking that bringing new is them bringing value when it's like
Right.
what they're actually introducing is chaos into your business.
Correct. 100%. And I experienced that firsthand with a program that I joined. It was only 10K. It was 10K and they were implementing, like it was supposed to be this CRM system that was going to make everything easier. Like, bro, I lost so much money trying to figure out what they were doing with that system. I eventually just completely scratched it. But anyway, so Vaughn was telling me about it. And I was like, we'll see, we'll see, we'll see. And then in December of 2024, I had to fire my entire sales team, all of the closers, all of the appointment setters, everybody. And it was just back to me on not on the fulfillment side. I still had a team on the fulfillment side, but on the sales side, marketing, front end, it was just me. And so I experimented with running like challenges and doing like one-to-many sales. And, that has its place. It can work for sure. We actually saw a good success with the percentages on that, but we weren't getting enough volume into our events. And I didn't have enough runway to continue to experiment with that until we got it right. But I already know that if I get on the phone and sell every day, that'll work. And so I decided to give Charlie a shot early 2025. And we went from having 2 months, 3 months left of revenue before we're out of business to over 6-figure months consistently again with just me and Charlie.
That's insane.
And so it was just me and Charlie.
That is
No one else.
absolutely insane.
No team. And the way that we did it was at first, I took one of the setters that I fired and I called him back and I said, hey, I don't need you to dial. I don't need you to do any of that stuff. I just want you to triage the people that Charlie sets. So Charlie, I'm using this AI. Charlie's going to set. I'm going to need you to just do a triage with them before they get to me. Because I felt I wasn't sure if I can go AI
Right.
straight to me
You weren't sure about
yet.
the quality, so you wanted to like have
Correct.
a little filter process there and ensure that they got to you, they were a legitimate
They were
look.
quality. Yeah. And so it was like Charlie would book these 20-minute triages. But what I found was that he would have like 12 triages a day, right? Because like we weren't doing a ton of friction on the front end. We wanted to see, will it book? Does it do what it's supposed to do? And so he would have like his calendar, but he enjoyed it because he's not dialing
Yeah, of
all day
course.
at 5 calls.
Getting
They're
inbound
all
triages versus having to pound out $500 a day, like
right.
anybody would
And so
think.
he would have like 12, 15 triages a day and then filter those people to me. And the people that he would filter to me would close. And then I started watching some of his triages and I was like, he's not handling the financial objection as well as I'd like. I can spend time training him, but then I'm back into a sales team situation and I don't want that. I think I could have closed that person on that first call. That's what I was saying to myself when I was watching their calls, his calls. And so I said, you're not doing triages anymore. No, I said, I'm going to have some people go to you and I'm going to have some people come to me. I started testing it that way first. So people started coming to me directly from Charlie and I started closing them. And then I was like,
Well,
we,
what's the point of having that point of friction if you're gonna
yep,
one call close them? Then now you're
yep,
going back and looking at all them calls that
yep, exactly.
raw triage.
So
You're
I was
like,
like,
damn.
all right, cool. No more triage, just Charlie straight to me. And that's when we started going, okay, we went back to from the first quarter of 2025 losing money to rounding out profitably. And even though the first quarter of the year was a bust, still did over 800 grand in 2025 cash collected. And so then, but so now it's still Charlie. And I do have a setter that is only dialing people who Charlie hasn't booked and has like been in the CRM for a long time. However, now what I'm testing out is all of these reactivations that you can do with Charlie and some use cases that I haven't been taking advantage of yet. And so that might be bad for my team right now too. We'll find out.
Oh man,
We'll
the
find
reactivations are like, so people, for people that don't understand, like as far as like Charlie, when you're plugging it in, Charlie is like, it's not just like an AI setter, but really the vision of it AI revenue automation system,
yeah,
right? Where it's like all the different parts of your sales operations, your pipeline stages, all the different ways that you segment leads in your CRM. You can
yeah,
configure a Charlie agent specifically to go after that segment of leads, and you can control the experience and the
yeah,
outcome of that. So really, like once you get a new idea, that's where my reactivation plays come from. I just think about a new idea for like this segment of leads,
yeah,
configure a Charlie agent, just push them in and just see what happens. You know,
yeah.
some of them are a bust and some of them are like, I struck gold and it just starts printing. Then I'm like, oh,
I had 1 month where I ran a reactivation where all I did was ask people who had told me no previously. There was only one question. You give up on your drumming or are you still looking to get better? Or did you find what you're looking for or have you given up on this? It would just be like one question like that. And then they're like, oh, I'm still looking. You down to hop on a call to explore like what could be possible for you again? Sure. They hop on Zoom, close them. Like it's literally been like there's those. Then there's like the reactivation play that we talked about before that I just ran and it's working. And so it's just like, man, I am learning now through this. I actually feel like being a part of Charlie was almost as valuable as being a part of a coaching program because of all that I've learned from even other people who are using it and how they're using it in ways that I hadn't thought about. And so being able to take these ideas, adapt them to my business, see like, oh, okay, this is what's happening here. Let me try to run this reactivation play. Let's see what happens here when we actually have this segment of people do this and like really build a system around this. Like if you do this right, you really don't need setters.
you really don't. I mean, we've got one of our
You don't need setters.
companies in our portfolio is doing like over $1 million a month cash collected with no
That's
setters and
crazy.
just Charlie throughout the pipeline. So we've got
Yeah.
like the top of funnel agent, we've got the middle funnel, we've got the database reactivation, we've got no show rebooking, cancellation, And then every
Yep.
month I'll like experiment with a new reactivation play that we're just
Yeah.
throwing it at a wall, right?
Yeah.
But the cool thing is like when you're in that place, you can just experiment and just be like, let me see if this will work. Right. And
Yeah.
then I don't need to train a team on how to like present this to leads. I'm just like, Charlie, here's the messaging, here's the
Yeah.
objective, here's what
Yep.
I want you to do when these leads meet these objectives, point them to
Yep.
this calendar, and then that's it. Right. And then it's like
That
sit back and watch the numbers start coming in. And the cool thing is like because you're getting data so early on, you
yeah.
can iterate very quickly. All right.
Yeah. And that right there is the thing. And so like I even on the last play that I ran, I was looking at the text messages that were coming through and I can see some of the objections that some people would have, especially if it was booked before and I'm doing a reactivation play that it may be something a slightly different offer or an offer that could be more affordable for them based on what they could do from the last time we spoke. And they're like, "Well, I already know how much this is." But I'm like, "Yo, this could be something different. You don't know what we actually have for you." But to be able to address those objections, you can easily just put it into Charlie, and you just have to teach Charlie once. That's the cool part, where you train it, it does it every time. So like that's, and I really I feel like I haven't even scratched the surface of what Charlie could really be doing for me. This was me when I started using Charlie to get back to where we were or to where we are now. It was me like minimal effort in terms of like, yes, I would like make sure that it had some objections to handle or to know when to disqualify people and like the basics, but like no, nothing else. Like there's so much. I show up to some of the calls. I'm like, hey, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
You see, how,
Because the world of AI, there's so much that we're rolling out in terms of what Charlie can do. But the cool thing about it is like once you get the top of funnel to where you need it to be, right?
yeah,
Everything else that you optimize as you start rolling things out is really house money, right? When you're getting a
yeah,
return on your top of funnel, it's just like, well, how much more juice can you get out of the squeeze? And typically you could probably, with the right agents in the different pipeline stages, you can add another 50 to 100K a month just to your
yeah.
business, just from like having the systematic process of leads coming from here. Once they've been sitting here for X amount of time, then they move here. And then from there, so on and so forth.
100%. And those are the things that I'm optimizing right now for, so that like, uh, there's people that's been sitting in the pipeline for a while that haven't been activated, or what am I going to do with our leads that may not have been financially qualified for our high ticket offer, and like things that you can do to still provide value and to not just provide value but activate these people, and then call them to some sort of action that actually does help them in some sort of way that makes sense for them, and do all of these things in a way. I am now starting to like really. So to me, I'm like, man, if the front end is just doing what it's doing, and I can get all these things to happen on the back end where we have like a monthly reactivation play that we can do that rotates and may not be the same one every single time, in a way that like we build out this playbook that we can just run throughout the year whenever we need a cash projection to make something happen. And you don't have to have people to do it.
That's the beautiful thing about it. Just the speed from idea to implementation is like,
Yes.
and with what we're cooking with Charlie, like my ultimate goal is just like, just give it the resources that it needs. And then it will
Yeah.
just start building those reactivation plays on its own and implementing it on its own. So that's why the new engine has been such a key uh, structure. Like getting the new engine live has been what is set up that stage for that
Mhm.
autonomous like reactivation. Like once it's fully done, but that's like the ultimate goal where I want to get it to, where it's like here,
It just comes up with reactivation plays for you
yep,
based on like what you base it on though. Is it based on like certain
it'll be based on
things
the
that it already
assets that you give it. So you can give it access to all your different assets, and then it will generate reactivation, re-engagement
crazy?
based on
That's
those
crazy.
assets. Because that's what I
That's
do
nuts.
now. I'm like, what do we have, right? Or what do we have in our back end that I could potentially bring and turn into like either like a front end type offer
Yeah.
or spin up a lead magnet off of it or some type of nurture campaign around it. That's really all I'm
Yeah.
doing. So then essentially I'm just giving it that process and then training it on that framework, and you can apply it to any offer. Like I do it for B2B, B2C, agency, done for you, software, like those foundational principles. Cause I like thinking in first principles and building off reusable and repeatable frameworks that I can apply to like virtually any kind of business,
And so you apply it to, and so that sounds crazy. I'm also looking forward to seeing what this, the booking manager, once
Oh
that
man,
gets
that
up.
booking manager is going to be freaking, there's a few things that we're polishing up with it, but that's going to be badass. Again, solving like some of those constraints as you're like getting all these leads booking. Now it's like you got to deal with like the sales operations or sales admin side of like making sure you're maximizing slot utilization and making sure like leads are confirming and increasing show rates and things like that.
Yeah.
So we're a little bit over time, but I mean, I gotta, for you, like, as you're kind of looking back, with Charlie, like, what has been like the unintended benefits that have kind of come as a result of it? And what are things that you're like no longer worried about that you used to be worried about that you're like, man, like, I don't have to think about that anymore because this thing is just doing its thing.
Yeah. The problem that I had before that Charlie has completely solved was that even when I had setters, the amount of leads that we would get, my setters wouldn't be able to get to them. And I no longer have to worry about if a lead is being reached out to, if someone is being contacted, if someone that comes to our system is hearing from us on the front end outside of just, looking at the landing page or seeing us ad. So like that's one thing. The ability for it to qualify leads and make sure that, they act like, it has gotten to a point where 80% of my bookings come from Charlie, not from the calendar people self-booking. It just outperforms it. And so like I look to Charlie to signal a few things. Before I even go check my ads, I can see with Charlie if I need to refresh ads. Like I can get up in the morning and see how many bookings that have come through or what the conversations look like, and then be like, I bet in my ad account X, Y, and Z is happening. I need to do something about this. I can look at and the crazy, so like the qualification. Oh, by the way, Charlie eliminated team meeting for me, which was amazing, right? Because it bought me so much of my time back because I don't really need, and it also, this is the thing that it did. It exposed where I was lacking in system organization and structure for the leads in the sales system to work at its like most efficient and max capacity. And so Charlie, I tell people all the time who I refer Charlie to, because I've referred some people to Charlie and they're like, well, it's not booking any calls for me, or people aren't showing up, or I haven't closed anyone from a Charlie set. And I tell them, what you're experiencing is a result of your systems, of your processes, of your scripts. You can't hide from it now because it's just giving you back what you gave it. It's the system that you designed with your words and your questions and your process. And it's showing you at scale what you're doing needs to change. And not only that, you guys have provided such infrastructure with this where you can actually see by question where people are falling off of your funnel. So you can optimize your questions. You can optimize, it's like a conversation funnel, you guys call it. You can optimize these things in a way and see where the problem is with like extreme accuracy. And so like that's what it's taking all of the guessing out of the equation for me and has allowed me to really be able to see what I'm doing and what's working. And this is coming from a person who has not dived all the way into it as I should, which I'm doing now, really starting to dive into it and like see everything that's possible that I could be doing with all the reactivations and all the organizational structure. And so that's what Charlie has done for me. It has made my calendar predictable. It has outperformed I even hired a setter just to see if the setter would outperform Charlie.
Yeah.
Because one of the biggest objections I had in my mind was that nobody's going to want to respond to AI. They're going to know this is AI and they're going to hate it and X, Y, and Z. And Charlie just connects with way more people. Charlie outbooks my human setters every single time. It's not even close on a consistent basis.
Yeah. And just because of the leverage that you get, one of the things that it's funny that you hit on it, because For me, I'm like, every system is going to produce the outcomes that you engineered it to produce, right?
Yeah.
What Charlie will do, what humans aren't able to do, is because a human, if they're not getting results, like they'll overcompensate for the
Mhm.
inefficiencies of the system,
Yeah.
right? Where like Charlie's going to do exactly what you want it to do if you give the process. And if it's not producing the outcome, then there's only really one thing that you need to do. Either you change the inputs or you
Yeah.
need to change the system itself, because at scale, what
Yep.
you're doing isn't going to work, and it is exposing that, right?
100%.
So if you actually put in the time and optimize like the different components of it, which would give you the data to do, so you don't have to sit there and guess, well, I feel like this could be done better. It's like, no, this is where your drop off is. Focus on the drop
Yeah.
off, tweak that, and then you start seeing it lift. But it allows you to make data driven decisions, you know?
Yeah. Facts, which is why I think I didn't do like a ton of tweaking once I came into Charlie, because it like validated that what I was already doing was working, and the people that I fired, I should have fired them because they just weren't doing it. Right. And so Charlie started doing it, and I'm like, oh, I'm getting calls. Oh, well, these calls are closing. Oh, okay, I can go straight to me. Oh, okay, this is working still. And so I just kept doing more of that and sending more. Like, oh, I can just focus on the ads now. I can focus on marketing. I can focus on all these things because, because at the same time, I didn't even say this. At the same time that this was happening, that I was optimizing Charlie, like I had fired a coach and we had redid our entire fulfillment operations and hired 2 more coaches and was like streamlining all of that at the same time. But I was able to do that with my fulfillment director because I didn't have to worry about
Yeah, you're not sitting
running.
there having to be in the weeds on how do I make the most of these leads that I'm spending money to generate. It's like, all right, so long as the ads are going and I have availability on my calendar, I don't even have to worry about managing these leads. I can
Yep,
focus on other things, right? And
yep,
set up time blocks to focus on other, like actually working on the business and shifting
yep.
gears. But
And here's
oh,
the
I'm
thing:
gonna take this out.
when volume drops, I don't even look at like, oh, I need to do something with Charlie because he's not getting as many book calls. I just refresh the ads, and because Charlie's already it's working. Like I don't need to do different here on this front end. I need to do this here. Now there's back end stuff now that I'm doing now, like, okay, like the reactivations and stuff like that. On the front end, I'm like, anytime I've been tempted to change anything, I remind myself, bro, you just did 115 last month. Don't change anything. Do change, like, refresh the ads and like let Charlie do what it's doing. If there's an objection that comes up that's super weird, I ask myself, okay, do I need to change anything, or is this like just this one-off super weird prospect that's really just not a good fit? What, you see what I'm saying? And kind of, it's just made a lot of things easier, man. And I that's why I told you when we were in I was telling Drew in Nashville, I was like, bro, we need Charlie to last forever, bro. This can't ever go away.
Charlie's not going anywhere. I mean, as far as this goes, I mean, for me, I've been building it for my own businesses and my own pipeline, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of the things, and this is why it's important to be doing the damn thing, right? As you
Yeah.
mentioned earlier, you can't really teach something at an expert level if you yourself aren't doing it at a high level, right? So all the
Yeah.
different nuances of like things that we train and configure Charlie to do is based on like actual business use case. I was like,
Yeah.
we had problems in my own business. We had 40 setters at one point, and it's like, man, the amount of like structural stuff that we have to have in place, it just
Can't imagine that,
do
bro.
that was absolutely insane.
40+ letters, bro. It's crazy.
Yeah. So Charlie's been able to like eliminate the need for that. And I'm like, well, we're probably leaving some money on the table, not having people call these leads, but I'm like, I don't care. Like, I'm okay leaving some money on the table.
I mean, as they say, you're always leaving something on the table, right?
You are. And
But
it's
it's
just
like,
like, what kind of life do you want to have? I'm like, I've never
exactly.
enjoyed entrepreneurship more than I have now with not
Yeah.
having that department, right?
Yeah.
Not having to worry about that, just like focusing on building a good sales team and good sales structure, make sure the back
Yep.
end team is delivering the results of the promises that we're making on the front end. And then it's just like, it's made business way more simple in terms of like, where do I need people and who do
Yep.
I need in those different places, you know?
This just made me think though, because I didn't, again, full transparency, when I started doing Charlie, was super uncertain if this was going to work, but I was willing to give it a shot. Right? I was like, I told myself 3 months. This is what we're going to do. We're going to try this for 3 months to see what happens. But it has led me down this rabbit hole now of like, before hiring a person, my first thought is there a workflow that can be created that actually solves this issue instead of hiring a person?
100%. You become a system thinker now. It's like you can, because Charlie forces you to break down your process into a systematic workflow that we can actually delegate to it, right? And that thinking applies to all areas of your business, right? Do I need people for this, or do I need to break it down into a workflow that I can train AI on to help the team be able to do more, you know? And it
has led me to also understanding how important thinking is in the aspect of all of this, because I've found that some of my most valuable time spent now is not selling. It's not doing copywriting. It's not doing anything. It's literally just ideating, thinking, and structuring the process and designing, and then implementing that. Now I know what to take action on to see if this thing works and make adjustments based on what our mind is able to do. Because before, it was always like, I'm not doing enough, I'm not doing enough, I'm not doing enough. But now it's like, no, there's things that do for you. You're not thinking this through. You're not really ideating and looking at all the details. And again, one of the first things that made me really see that was when I saw your playbooks, especially with the lead optimization and like knowing what your leads are doing. I was like, yeah, I didn't think about this at all.
Yeah. Because you're too in the weeds. You don't even have time to think about that when you're so in the weeds, right?
You know, but I feel like I've been in enough cycles of up and down and understanding, like when I first did with Charlie, I was really down, right? Like I was looking at like 2-3 months and we're out of money. But I said, I know that I can sell and I know that we can fulfill if I can just get this one thing. And so like I'm at a point now where like no matter how bad it gets, me and Charlie are gonna bring it back. Like it's gonna be fine if anything like that happens. However, at this point, at any down month we have that doesn't work the way that I thought it was gonna work or whatever the case is, I'm no longer stressed. I don't like have anxiety around it. I just sit down and actually think through, look at everything that's happening and use the power of our mind to actually be able to, because that's what all of this is systems that we design that actually do stuff after we design it. And if it doesn't do stuff, then we evaluate it with our brains again and try to make it different outcomes. So yeah.
That's awesome. Man, it was an absolute pleasure having you on here. Went a lot longer than we initially anticipated, but dude, for anyone who's like watching,
If it's me and you, if it's you and Vaughn, if it's me and Vaughn, like, it's
yeah,
gonna
we
be a
just
problem.
jam. Well, like time just kind of like evaporates and it's just
Yeah.
the flow. So for anyone who's like watching and on the fence about Charlie, what would you say to them to just kind of be like, help them make any decision, if at all?
Yeah. Don't be an idiot. Use Charlie. Like
Don't
if you're
be an
not using
idiot and
Charlie,
use Charlie. Let's
don't be an idiot. I was an idiot. That's why I'm saying this. Whenever I tell anyone not to be an idiot, it's because I was an idiot at that thing. Like, I tell it to my younger brothers all the time, like, yeah, I did that. Don't be an idiot. Like,
Yeah.
it's stupid. So like, it's the same thing here. Like it has literally, you have to try it. You have to at least give it a shot and put in the effort to optimize the system, because once you do,
That's it. Like
can't.
once you have the system dialed in, like I've
Yeah.
just seen it too many times. Getting to 100K a month is pretty like turnkey. And then getting beyond that, once the system is in place, is a combination of volume and having enough of the right people taking the sales calls. That's really what it boils down to. And then getting beyond that point, it's all about your back end and unlimiting, like removing the constraints on your back end in terms of between workflows and people and systems and processes there. Once you unlock that, it's like, all right, how big do you want this thing to be? Determines how much volume you feed the machine. And that's it.
That's all it is.
Yeah. Well, man, I'm glad you were able to jump on. For those guys who are listening, like Damani's been through the fire. You know, that's why we call it Founders Fire. It's just like, if you're going to be successful at anything is trial by fire, right? And how long you stay in the fire, you don't get to choose if you're going to go through the fire, right? Like, it's just like different devils at different levels is ultimately what it boils down to. But getting around the right people, getting the right information, and making it a point to like not have to stay in that level longer than you need to be. It's all about implementing the right systems, getting the right knowledge, getting the right playbook. So if you guys are listening and like, hey, I want to access to that playbook that Damani was talking about, we'll link it below, like the lead management playbook. That's really where it starts, is understanding what it looks like to manage your leads at a high level. And once you have that playbook in place, if you want to delegate that work to AI, hopefully you use Charlie. Book a demo of it. Go to charlieai.io, book a demo of it, and see if it fits into what you need it to do. But till next time, guys, stay calm, change lives, and have business on your terms. Peace.